resistance is futile.
Boldly going where no show has gone before. This is the Week in Geek with David D. Squared, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. Broadcasting from the Gregory Ricks and Associates Wealth Management Studios, here's D. Squared.
Greetings, people of Earth! This is the Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your host, D. Squared. Let's lay out the show for you. It's another easy one. We're just going to be talking at you. We got a lot of top nerd news to talk about. We've got the Marvel What If Episode 1 recap. Skungy's got a couple of picks of the week. One might actually include a board game. And finally, the entire goal of this show tonight is to get Brendan Fraser back to work. So we have an entire bevy of Brendan Fraser to provide you and get him back on the big screen, the little screen, any screen that I can get Brendan Fraser on. But first, let's do this. And now, your top nerd news stories from around the world, brought to you by the Viridian Tea Company. Find them on Etsy. And now, your top nerd news stories. Skungy, what's shaking, bacon?
What is going on, sir?
You know, look, it's another Sunday night. We're live, and we're here doing a show. And I just got to get Brendan Fraser a job. That's all. That's my entire goal for tonight's show. But we're not going to do that yet. We're saving the big guns for later, because I know everyone wants to see and hear more from Brendan Fraser. So we'll be talking about him later. But in top nerd news, let's kick it all off with this. We have The Free Guy. Came out this weekend, and the box office numbers are in, and they've done pretty darn good for themselves, not just here domestically, but also internationally. They racked up almost $51 million across worldwide debut. Yeah, $51 million, and that's actually 28.4 more than they expected. Now, here's the thing, though, Skungy, because I'm sorry, I misread that. 28.4 million is the domestic performance that they had. And everyone is going, bananas about how this movie is only available in theaters and it's making $28 million. And it's got to be greater than every movie that's ever seen the light of day. Pump the brakes, y'all. Just pump the brakes, because let's just talk about the fact that this movie, while I'm excited to see it, I did not have the time to go see it this weekend. I'll get into that later as to why. But this was only available in theaters. The COVID Delta variant is still sort of lurking out there, but it hasn't hit home to a lot of people yet. So there's still a lot of people going out and doing their thing, going back to the movie theaters. Look, I was one of those people that went and watched Jungle Cruise in the theater, went and saw that other movie in the theater. I forgot what the hell it was. But right now, you're looking at, people that are kind of going back out there right now. Nobody's really done that whole pullback. Nobody's shut down the movie theaters. A good chunk of people have gotten their shots, are fine with wearing their masks, etc. But it was not R-rated. It was a brand new IP, so it was something new from Hollywood. We finally got something new. And while I am excited by these numbers, I'm more upset with in every freaking article you see, Free Guy, 51 million, Free Guy, 22.5 million domestic, and Suicide Squad tumbles and tanks to 7 million. Okay, so let's unpack that for a second, Skungy, because look, why did it tank? It didn't tank. Why did it plummet? Because most people have seen it, or they went and stole somebody's HBO Max code and watched it at home in the comfort of their own living room. And I think this is something that just the disingenuous nature of some of these articles is what really, really gets under my skin, buddy.
I agree. I mean, look, I was one of the people for Suicide Squad. I watched it on HBO Max, and for the Jungle Cruise, I didn't go into the theater. Me and my wife, we lived with her mother. It was older. we're being safe, so we are taking that option of doing the premium content like with Disney Plus.
Right.
So we added to that numbers. So more people are going to be doing that, especially like you said with Suicide Squad. But the movie's getting great reviews. It did well in the box office. It's just because they're trying to sensationalize this. Oh, it's because people didn't actually go to the theater.
Right. I think that's what people are trying to get at. And look, there's two different markets for this movie. Free Guy is good for like my 8-year-old, and maybe even my 14-year-old would probably like it. Oh God, he's 15 now. He would probably like this. And with the R rating of Suicide Squad, it kind of removed that from the equation. So you'll have smaller numbers by dint of it being an R rating and just copious amounts of F-bombs and the gore factor. But
Gore.
I think what really irks me though is that in none of this do they sort of bring up the other Disney IP of Black Widow, which had very similar numbers, but also suffered from the streaming option. And I just find it disingenuous at best for them to keep pumping up this movie. As much as you and I were going gaga about Free Guy, and I guarantee I'll go see it, and I'm most likely going to enjoy the hell out of it because just Ryan Reynolds, he can do no wrong. He's the golden child. But I find it that they're more or so less trying to put out a narrative to get people to be like, oh, look how great this is. Get back out to the theaters. And I guess the other part of me is kind of like, can we pump the brakes? This is why we got the Delta variant in the first place, you turd burglars. Stop it. I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at. It's a weird sort of mishmash of, geopolitics and all of the movie politics involved in it, man.
I agree with it. And when you look at it, like, for instance, with the Jungle Cruise, it's $30 to get the premium access to that, and that's what happened with Black Widow. It was the same thing. You get it's $30.
Right.
But when you break it down, how much is it? It's like $15 for a movie ticket. So that's two people. If you have a family of 4, are you going to go to the theater, or are you going to watch the movie at home for half the cost?
Well, that goes to the purists though too. I mean, I forgot who was the old guy who was in Blade, who we interviewed. God, he was in all these horror movies.
Udo Kerr.
Yeah, like he was a purist. When I asked him about that, he's just like, I cannot wait to get back into the theater. Now he sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. But it was. A lot of people enjoy being in that theater. While, yeah, I do sort of enjoy it, it's not a deal breaker if I'm going to watch it in my living room. But now
I agree with you on that.
Now here's the thing. The reason I wanted to bring all this up with the streaming options and everything else was that the lead actor for Shang-Chi, the Legend of the Ten Rings, Simu Liu, he got upset today. He got his panties in a twist. I guess August 14th, yesterday. So Bob Chapek, he is one of the Disney CEOs, and he's talking about, during one of these other investor conferences, talking about all the things that Disney has going on, which is a lot. Talking about the streaming of movies and then the simultaneous release in the theaters. And he was talking about how going into this new weird Delta variant pandemic where we're not seeing lockdowns, but we're still, there's no telling what's going to happen in the next month or two. Honestly, that has me on edge because if they screw up freaking Halloween for me, I'm just going to go punch randos. I don't care who they are. I'm going to just punch them.
If my Hollywood Horror Nights get canceled, I'm climbing a clock tower.
Right. And so Bob Chapek was referencing the fact that they are going to try with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings to do a strictly theater only, like Free Guy. Free Guy has made $28 million, and they are hoping and they're banking that Shang-Chi is going to be something that will bring people to the theaters and that they won't have to stream it. They will stream it 45 days later. All right? That being said, that was the context of the meeting. Well, Simu Liu did not appreciate them saying that this is an experiment, in this movie of doing just theatrical release only, not streaming and theatrical. Well, Simu was upset. He tweets out, "We are not an experiment. We are the underdog, the underestimated. We are the ceiling breakers. We are the celebration of culture and joy that will persevere after an embattled year. We are the surprise. I'm fired the bleep up to make history on September 3rd. Join us." And then there's a bunch of pictures of him and the cast members. So everything
What does it have to do?
he just said is wrong, except for, what he thinks of his cast and what this movie's going to mean to an embattled Asian community where you've got people, just attacking Asians because of the Chinese virus, air quotes, all that BS. But the dude is so flat out wrong. And I think this goes to, I'm just going to beat up on millennials today and this cancel culture stuff, because honestly, I'm more upset that the face of this franchise, the first Asian actor who's going to be leading a whole tentpole movie, got his feelings hurt because he misunderstood a quote from a Disney CEO saying that it's an experiment. Why do people always assume that they're attacking them, that they're attacking their ethnicity, their movie, their personal preferences, whatever their attractions might be, whatever clothes they like to wear? Why does it always have to be so personal? A CEO, 9 times out of 10, is talking about the bottom line. The guy's job is on the line because they could probably make just as much money if they do a simultaneous release. But they're banking that this new phase 4 of the Marvel movies is going to start bringing people in. We've seen what what Disney Plus has done, all the TV shows. We've seen that there is still a want and a need for these Marvel movies. That's the bank, that they're banking on that. Not that it's like, oh, it's an experiment. We're going to put Asian people in lead roles and make an Asian-centric movie. I'd sure hope it works. No! 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 Okay, I feel a little bit better.
No. The second I read that, I was like, did he actually read the statement, or did he just see experiment? I believe that's all he saw was just experiment, because it's amazing, as you were saying, sometimes with this cancel culture, and I get it. I'll say it right now. There's a lot of stuff that is wrong, and it deserves to, it's like you're wrong, and you don't deserve to be, to be on social media or in the media or anything. You're a bad person and you deserve to go away. That being said, there are a lot of times when people will just jump the gun, not reading the entire story. And this is one of those instances.
No, this is absolutely the case. And honestly, I started doing some digging, and apparently, because once when I would put in Simu Liu controversy or Shang-Chi controversy, I got a whole bunch of other stuff. He picked a fight with oh my God, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, Mark Wahlberg. Apparently Mark Wahlberg, when he was a youth, attacked a couple of Vietnamese people, threw rocks at him, all these crazy things. And, he went to jail. It was put on his permanent record, etc. And he's attacking him. And I'm just kind of like, you know what? That's a solid, point. That, know what? Like, okay, yeah, he was attacking Asian people for simply being Asian. Okay, I get that. But then the weird part is when people attacked him for doing that, he retracted it. And he goes, all right, I deleted it because I want to further the conversation. It's like, all right, man, one or the other, though. And so, I'm looking at these things and I'm kind of like, he's not helping his own argument. If you're going to stand by it, stand by it. If you're pissed at Mark Wahlberg for attacking Asian people for being Asian, then stay pissed at him. People can grow, and that's another thing that really pisses me off with cancel culture, is that they dig up 10, 20-year-old tweets, and people can grow, they can get better, and it's just the simple things where they see one little line of text, and then all of a sudden, they get destroyed. Just like this in radio. You could take one little bit of what I say on the radio and just try to rake me over the coals. But you know what? I got the master copy. So I'll just, I got it. We got it all. All right, look, when we come back, I want to talk about the cancel culture, but also how it sort of involves other players and other actors. I think it's all going to roll into my free Brendan Fraser, the centerpiece of tonight's show, because you got Johnny Depp, who's been on the outs with Hollywood, and Brendan Fraser, who has been in the outs with Hollywood for a while. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then, did you ever get your Hogwarts letter, Skungy? Did you ever get that Hogwarts letter?
I have never got my Hogwarts letter. I waited at that bar for hours, and it never showed up.
If you got $250, you can get one. All right, this is The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Hey y'all, D Squared here, and I'm joined by a special guest, the Go Forblin, to bring you a special announcement. That's right. Go 4 Games, your friendly neighborhood game shop since 2010, is moving to 4953 West Napoleon Avenue in the Napoleon Plaza. Keep up to date with the move and Go 4Blin's adventure on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Go4GamesNola and Go4GamesNola.com. What's that? Oh, he says he can't wait for you to see his new pick of location at 4953 West Napoleon Avenue. Box tea again? Why don't you try the tea blends from the Viridian Tea Company? They sell blends that are guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With blends like Quantum Mechanics, Caligula's Herbal Nerve Tonic, and Manta Ray Dreaming, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop at 432 North Anthony Street or online at Etsy at the Viridian Tea Company. So put down the box and order some tea from the Viridian Tea Company today. Sincerely, your taste buds.
Pro-Se Productions is a leading independent publisher on the cutting edge of new pulp and genre fiction today. At Pro-Se Productions, you'll find fiction featuring fast-paced action and adventure, larger-than-life protagonists, over-the-top characters, and tight yet extravagant plots. Pro-Se specializes in prose books, anthologies, audiobooks, and more. Go to prose-press.com to find our monthly release schedule and more info about our great titles. Pro-Se Productions is your first-rate publisher of new pulp fiction today.
In From the Storm, fanzine highlights Black female characters in comics and sci-fi. The fanzine is for and by Black women, featuring original artwork, interviews, and cultural criticism. As Black women fans, we have unique perspectives that are often silenced and discouraged in mainstream outlets. In From the Storm is a shelter from the storm, a place for Black women to gather, learn, and discuss our Black female nerddom. Find them at infromthestormzine.com or at In From the Storm on Facebook.
This is Kate Mulgrew for The Week in Geek.
Just kidding. It's Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, the Major from Ghost in the Shell. Listen, or the Tachikomas are gonna get you.
Welcome back into The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your host, D Squared, along with Along with me for the ride is my boy Skungy. Now, as always, I want to strongly urge you to check out the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Week in Geek. Check out our website or not at twigradio.com. Follow us on Twitter. Definitely do that at Twig Radio. And, of course, the Instagrams at The Week in Geek. Hey, Skungy, how can people listen to this show?
Well, if you missed any part of tonight's show or just want to hear D Squared yell and scream and get that feign in his head again, you can always find us on Spreaker.com or download Spreaker for your smartphone or tablet. We're also on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and the iHeartRadio app.
Okay, whatever. I guess I've gotten used to it now. You know, this is probably why you haven't gotten your Hogwarts letter, because they don't want you in the choir. But Lego has put out a new set for $250. You get your Hogwarts letter. You get the owl whose name I forget. Harry's owl. What's his name? Hedwig. Thank you very much. And then you get little gold statues of Albus Dumbledore and a couple of other things. But the most important thing is you get your letter. You finally get that letter, and you can officially go to Hogwarts. And at the end of the day, that's all that really matters, right, Skungy? That's all that matters. Getting that letter.
It does, and it could be personalized. The cool thing is, letter can be personalized. It's oh man, Harry Potter has just got such a wonderful place in everybody's hearts.
Except my son. My 15-year-old son. Again, check out this segue, bruh. So today, earlier at 11 to 1:30, we went out to the Pontchartrain Center in Kenna, bruh. They had Lego Brick Universe. Now, Lego was not in the title. It's called Brick Universe because it's not exactly it's not owned by Lego. It's kind of like a fan group, but on a smaller scale. They do events in St. Louis. They do some in Chicago, Florida, Orlando, California. They're all over the country, and it's called Brick Universe. Now, what it is, it's some of the best brick masters, kind of similar to like Lego Brick Master on Fox 8 or the Fox Network with the guy who does the voice of Lego Batman. Lego Masters, thank you. And what it is, though, all these guys and gals are out there who have created in one giant room. Remember the gaming room for NOLA Gaming Fest where it was just the computers and gaming? That entire room was nothing but scale models of major landmarks across the country. They had a scale model of Vatican City, the entirety of Vatican City walls, the little park that they had, the sculpture garden, the basilica, the little apartment where the Pope sometimes comes out and waves his hands and blesses people en masse. Then they had like the Golden Gate Bridge, and it was roughly about 15, 20 feet long. It took up like 3 tables, and they had apparently a lot of people were from Chicago and New York, I guess, because those are some of their stops. So you had like the Sears building. You had all these just amazing small scale versions of these national landmarks. But then, Skungy, they had a guy over there who I'm going to set up an interview with him later this week because he had a Scooby-Doo diorama with Scooby and the gang. He had a Batman sort of I guess diorama is the best sort of way to put it because it was just like little scenes, but it's all got the minifigures, but they build them from scratch. There's no beneath each monument or Lego thing, they have hours spent designing and then hours spent building, then the number of bricks. And it was just, it was so cool because we kind of just stopped and you would look at the stuff. Some of them were automated. They had a lady who was making NASA. It was all space stuff. So she had rockets, but she had an app on her phone that would actually make the little, the rocket shoot off and dry ice smoke would shoot out. She had the landing pad on the giant like tank tracks rolling in and out to put in the rocket. It was so cool. And going back to the Harry Potter thing, they had one guy who set up an entire Quidditch match that had over 400 plus minifigures in it. And it was just filled with Harry Potter Easter eggs, but also every little, he had 7 or 8 things set up, and they all had homages to the Lego movie. So it had, Unikitty and Emmett and all these things kind of stashed in there. But this Quidditch thing was just freaking amazing. And actually, I'm going to post those pictures later on tonight on the Week in Geek on Instagram and Facebook because there's a lot of pictures there. But when we're looking at the Harry Potter thing, DJ's just yeah, I don't really care about Harry Potter a whole lot. I'm blasphemy! You're no son of mine. And then I disowned him, and I think he's still in Kenner somewhere. I'm not sure. But
man, it's been 20 years for Harry Potter. That's unfathomable.
No, I know. So Brick Universe, I don't know when they're coming back in town, but what's so funny to me is that I had no idea this event was going on. I saw it on the morning news getting ready to come into work on Friday, and I'm just like, oh, wow, something cool to do. And masks were enforced. They only had little windows. You had to buy tickets for a certain window, and then you go in there, and they had stuff you could buy. They had a bunch of vendors there selling, minifigs and all kinds of cool stuff. It was really a lot of fun to kind of get out the house and my 15-year-old and my 8-year-old were both like, hey, cool, because DJ likes building the big things, and so this was a fun little outing. We were only there for an hour, and tickets were like $15, and I only got, hit up for roughly about $45 worth of minifigures. So I got out pretty good today, man. For
That's
under
a miracle.
$100. I know, for under $100, I went and left. All right, let's get into here. Let's do this. We are about to spoil What If Episode 1. Marvel's What If Episode 1. So if you have not seen that, come back in 4.5 minutes, give or take. So, Marvel's What If. It started on Wednesday. We got another episode coming out on this Wednesday coming up. But the very first episode was actually pretty damn good. This was something that I assumed it would be good, but I really loved how they put Easter eggs within the Easter eggs of their own, what if universe. And I loved how they set everything up because it really was true to form with the comic books where it's like one little decision can change everything, the whole butterfly effect. And typically, I don't know if you remember the comic books, but the What If comic books were really kind of dark because everybody would die. I mean, that wouldn't always be the case, but a lot of them, that would always end on a down note because it's like, so be careful what you wish for, almost sort of thing. And when we started getting close to the end, I'm going, oh man, what's actually going to happen? And I felt like I was sort of on a cliffhanger, but I really loved how they, it was like watching the first Avenger, Captain America, the first Avenger, but different. And I mean, it was so cool. I mean, with Tony Howard Stark, they get the Tesseract and then builds him in Iron Man armor with the Tesseract. And then when they're fighting on the train and they get the doctor, and Bucky almost falls off the train and she yanks him up by his arm and he goes, whew, you almost pulled my arm off. I stopped and I started laughing and Dean's like, I don't get it. I'm like, that's the Winter Soldier, silver arm. Remember? He's like, oh, light bulb. Now you said you had an issue with the voices. Tell me about it.
Well, I didn't really have an issue with the voice, but it did seem a little weird that you had everybody was in. I mean, it seemed like all the original cast except for Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
It kind of pulled you out a little bit of it. That was really my only thing about it. I honestly, I thought it was awesome. I, like you, am a huge fan of the What If comic books. I was a really big fan in the 90s. They started redoing What If, and it was super, super dark. I mean, It was like rated M type dark. I loved that series. I understand they're not going to be as dark as any of the comic books because this is strictly off of the MCU.
Yes.
So they're going to keep it a little bit more lighthearted than you would say anything that would be in the comic books.
Well, and the best part was, wait, let me play the spoiler sound effect again. Because at the end of the episode, when they lose when Red Skull loses the Tesseract and he's like, I'm going to summon something. I'm like, what the hell is he going to summon? I had no idea what it was. And then all of a sudden, all these tentacles coming out like an elder god, and I honestly did not know what the hell that thing was. Like after the show was over, I had to go Google, and I think. It's not like I am some, Marvel savant that knows every freaking storyline and all the bad guys and all the good guys, but it is nice and a treat to be shocked by something and not see it coming or not know what it is on the screen because I was just genuinely like, wow, I don't know what's going on, so that means I don't know what's going to happen, and that was just fun for me. I don't know, I'm just weird.
Who was it? Was it Sheva Garoth?
Yes. All right. So like I thought it was like a Shub-Nuggaroth or what. I thought it was like an elder god, but it's a very minor like footnote of a character that Doctor Strange fought. So that's part of the multiverse of madness. So just like the things I was upset about with the final episode of Loki, how they're just setting stuff up for the movies, well, they're basically doing that with this. Now, while I don't dislike that, it is kind of cool, though, because it does give you sort of an idea of what you might expect, coming into, the multiverse of madness. So that was really cool. And then I just thought it was fun how, it really just took I guess the movie and just swapped it up a lot, just like one little decision. But then, when you see the shards and one choice will change the universe as you know it. Remember in the trailers, there was this one scene with Captain Britain who was, there with Star-Lord T'Challa, and then, like some weird version of Thor. So I think this is going to have a running theme, perhaps, that maybe they'll combine this universe towards the end, and you'll see sort of like that whole attack on the Battle for New York thing. So I like because that's all I couldn't get that vision out of my head when the show ended. It's just like I think they're going to try to put all these people together and sort of tie it all up, which I think is pretty dope too. I mean, that's hard storytelling, man.
Yeah. I mean, they set it up perfect. I mean, it ended with basically how the first Avenger ended with Captain America with, I missed a date. I missed the dance.
Yeah.
But one thing that I will have to I want to tell people about with next week, I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but just to honor, next week will be the episode with T'Challa, and this is Chadwick Boseman's
Are you sure?
last. Yes.
I thought it was the one with the Collector and Howard the Duck. Or, I mean, I don't know.
Well, what I heard that I had read somewhere that it was supposed to be T'Challa next week. But
yeah,
I could be wrong. But whenever that happens, that is the last thing that he did.
Yeah, I know. So, God, he had such a great voice too, man. He did such a great job with that. All right, when we come back, Skungy's Pick of the Week. He's got a video game. He's got a board game. He's got... game? No, that he does not. All right, this is
merchandising.
Shut up. This is the Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Box tea again? Why don't you try the tea blends from the Viridian Tea Company? They sell blends that are guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With blends like Quantum Mechanics, Caligula's Herbal Nerve Tonic, and Manta Ray Dreaming, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coos Mid-City Bookshop at 432 North Anthony Street or online at Etsy at the Viridian Tea Company. So put down the box and order some tea from the Viridian Tea Company today. Sincerely, your taste buds.
In From the Storm, fanzine highlights Black female characters in comics and sci-fi. The fanzine is for and by Black women, featuring original artwork, interviews, and cultural criticism. As Black women fans, we have unique perspectives that are often silenced and discouraged in mainstream outlets. In From the Storm is a shelter from the storm, a place for Black women to gather, learn, and discuss our Black female nerddom. Find them at infromthestormzine.com or at In From the Storm on Facebook.
What do you get the nerd who has everything? A gift card from D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe, and let them figure it out. D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe at 8228 Oak Street is open for the holidays, so head over and check out their expanded inventory of miniatures and miniature paints, board games, RPGs, TCGs. Or you can reserve a table for your next game night. Find them on Facebook at D4 Tabletop Gaming Cafe, or go to their location at 8228 Oak Street, just 2 blocks off of Carrollton. Or go to their website at d4cafe.biz.
Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, is now an audiobook read for you by Brian Held. It's a tale of a young girl from Tortuga who disguises herself as a boy and bluffs her way onto a pirate ship, chasing after her one true love, only to find adventure on the high seas. Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid is available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. Get your copy of Jezebel Johnston today.
Hello, creeps. It's me, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper, and you're listening to The Week in Geek.
Welcome back into The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your host, D Squared, and my boy Skungy is along for the ride. So, just out of, I guess, due process, we have to play this.
Skungy's Pick of the Week.
I am not what you would call a handsome man.
I love lamp. I love lamp.
Skungy's Pick of the Week.
He might be an idiot savant.
Woohoo, Skungy! What's shaking, bacon?
Not a lot. I got two things real quick. I really got one, but I just kind of want to mention about something.
All right.
So first things first, the video game Hades. This game I absolutely love and adore. I've done a review on it when it came out on the Nintendo Switch about 6-7 months ago. This game has just been released on the PS4 and the Xbox One.
Really? Is that the one where it's like the mythology stuff? Or am I misremembering?
Yes. You're right. It's kind of like that. You're playing the son of Hades.
Okay.
And it's a roguelike. Roguelike means that you're going to constantly be dying, but you get a little bit better each time.
Okay.
But it plays very much like a Diablo.
All right.
But you're trying to escape Hades. You're trying to get out of Hades.
Yeah. Well,
so, but you're
his dad's a superstar. You know, you got to get out from under that shadow. I feel that pain, man. I get it.
Yeah. You're trying to get out, and you've got the other Olympian gods are giving you favors and boons, which give you extra to attacks or special moves or something like that to get out of it. This game is amazing. It is one of the best. It's an indie game too. It's not a big release or anything like that. It's a $30 game if you were to buy it, but it's also on Game Pass for Xbox. But man, I'm telling you, now that it's a little bit more accessible to people, I really wanted to just let everybody know about it.
Well, there you go. All right. So what's the board game?
So one thing that I hate more than anything when it comes to horror movies, I love horror movies, but one thing I hate about horror movies are those pesky teenagers.
Okay.
They're in a cabin, and there are times that you're sitting there and you're rooting for that monster or whatnot. You're like, please eat him. Just eat him. I don't like it.
Cabin in the Woods is the most underrated, amazingest, bestest movie in the whole wide world with Chris Hemsworth in it. Oh my God. All right, continue.
I absolutely agree. This is a game called Monster Slaughter, where the point of it is you are playing a family of monsters, be it vampires or werewolves or zombies or maniacs or clowns. And you've got a mom, a dad, and a child. And your job is to break into this cabin and eat the teenagers.
All right, I'm already on board. I'm in. Price and platform. You get to stop right there. That is awful, and I love it. All right, so tell me more.
So the cool thing is the bottom of the box is the actual board of it, and it sets up like it's a cabin. So all the monsters start out outside of the cabin, and you can break down doors and whatnot. Now, you pick out at the beginning of the game, they'll have 5 teenagers, and sometimes you can have a guest. And if you kickstarted the game, you can get special guests, like Doc Brown is one of the guests who's in the cabin or whatnot, or different people from media and pop culture. But mainly it's these 5 teenagers. So you pick which one is your favorite, and you are going to try to eat your favorite for more points. And you are also trying to pick which order they're going to die in. So the point of that is that you are going to draw cards throughout the game. Now they're going to be hiding in these different rooms. So say you and I are playing and you're going to kill Tim. Well, Tim is my second to die. I don't want him to die first. So I will play a card that will give him like a bat to fight you off.
Oh, okay.
Or I could scare him out of, like, you're going to eat him. I want to eat him. I'm going to scare him out of the room into the next room where my son is, and my son's going to try to eat him.
Oh, my. Okay.
So it's this strategy. You've got this strategy that you're playing. You're trying to outsmart your opponent, and trying to, like I said, that hierarchy of how they're going to die, what order they're going to die, and making sure you get your favorite meal, as they call it. But the game also comes with these scenarios that you can play through, where they set up the board differently, and it adds all kinds of new different rules in how you play the game. And you can download these scenarios as well.
Oh, for free?
Yeah, there's a lot of scenarios that they have for free on their website. Now, I will be honest with you. This particular version of the game I kickstarted, and I got all the extra stuff. So they've got all kinds of extra killers in there, like killer families.
Okay.
They've got mummies, and like I said, the Kickstarter exclusive was the clowns, which are absolutely terrifying. But they also have some more scenarios on the Kickstarter. But you can find the base game of it, which still has plenty of content in it and comes with all those scenarios. It's like $50.
Really?
Yeah, it's like $50 or $60. Now, if you want to get the Kickstarter version of it, it's going to be a little bit more because, obviously now, secondhand market and resale value of it. But I've played this game a couple of times, and I'm always rooting for the maniacs in those movies and everything. And this just was so much unadulterated fun. Sure, it's morbid, but I don't care.
Well, I mean, look, Friday was Friday the 13th, and, we had to put up, the obligatory, Jason, Friday the 13th memes. But, we've seen a little bit of a cool sort of a resurgence with horror movies as well. I mean, there was a trailer that I almost pulled for tonight's show called The Night House, which is really weird. Like the lady's husband dies, but he becomes like this weird shadow thing. And it looks like one of those things where how you always see something in the corner of your eyes, like a shadow sort of thing move. Well, they play on that weird fear. And then it's like she's looking at it, and then all of a sudden the shadow itself turns its head to look at her. But it was so weird because how you get those weird visual, I forgot what the words are when you see it, and like a mirage or something like that. But it's a design mirage. It's a schooner. It's a boat, you dummy. So, but this one, it's her dead husband, and I don't know. It's not relying on sort of the jump scares, but the psychological horror things. They need more of that. We definitely need more of that. All right, so you think our friends at Go4 Games or D4 Gaming might have this game?
Yeah, I'm sure they can order it for you.
Yeah, I like where your head's at, buddy. I like where your head's at. All right, so let's do that.
But yeah, check it out. It's a lot of fun, and just you might not. It might be like teenager age. Now, it's not one you want to play with your young kids.
Oh man, I don't know. I've kind of.
Hey, I'm sure Dean would dig it.
Look, I have messed up my children already, so, they're already behind the 8-ball on that one. So, when we come back, Brendan Fraser, Hollywood, listen up, take notes, because I am going to put forth the resume of Brendan Fraser and what you've done to this poor man, you evil bastards. Brendan Fraser, the trailer, comes up next here on The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
Who you gonna call?
Box tea again? Why don't you try the tea blends from the Viridian Tea Company? They sell blends that are guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With blends like Quantum Mechanics, Caligula's Herbal Nerve Tonic, and Manta Ray Dreaming, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coos Mid-City Bookshop at 432 North Anthony Street or online at Etsy at the Viridian Tea Company. So put down the box and order some tea from the Viridian Tea Company today. Sincerely, your taste buds. Hey y'all, D Squared here, and I'm joined by a special guest, the Go4blin, to bring you a special announcement. That's right, Go4 Games, your friendly neighborhood game shop since 2010, is moving to 4953 West Napoleon Avenue in the Napoleon Plaza. Keep up to date with the move and Go4blin's adventure on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Go4GamesNola and GoForGamesNola.com. What's that? Oh, he says he can't wait for you to see his new pick of location at 4953 West Napoleon Avenue.
Mata Hari, Agent H21 is a spy fiction short story anthology about the famous dancer, seductress, and spy from World War I. Mata Hari, Agent H21, published by Prosay Productions, has 7 rip-roaring adventure tales about the world-famous super spy that features her battling her enemies by using any weapons at her disposal. Mata Hari, Agent H21 is available for purchase in ebook and paperback formats on Amazon.com.
Tubby & Coos Mid-City Bookshop invites you to browse their specially curated collection at tubbyandcoos.com. While the store at 432 North Anthony Street may be closed for browsing, you can order online and have it shipped directly to you or stop by for porch pickups. Follow them on social media for updates and virtual events at Tubby & Coos on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So toss a coin to your bookkeeper and help Tubby & Coos, the nerd mecca, survive the pandemic and 2020. Go to tubbyandcoos.com today.
This is the Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. Like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter at Twig Radio. Do it now.
Welcome back into the Week in Geek. The voice guy already did my spiel, so I am D Squared along for the ride, my boy Skungy. Now, we've been talking about this since the show started. Brendan Fraser, this poor guy, look, he kind of got shafted and he just sort of fell off the map for a while. But if you recall, Skungy, he had some stellar movies before, like in the 90s. You had Encino Man. Then you had George of the Jungle. It was so dumb, but it was still great. But then you had Bedazzled, Blast from the Past,
oh my
Airheads,
God,
then the Mummy franchise. This guy was just crushing it. And then, poof, no more Brendan. Where did he go? And I've been wondering that. And then all of a sudden, we've seen this weird little renaissance and resurgence, through Reddit and through social media and the meme that kind of finally put it over the top for me and decided I have to use my platform for good, right? I have to do things to help people. And the meme was simply Brendan Fraser sitting next to Keanu Reeves. And if these two made a movie and simply titled it Movie, everyone would go and see it because they're nice guys. You never hear about them kicking puppies. They kill people for kicking puppies. These are the two nicest guys, the most unassuming sort of. They've got money, but it's kind of like, hey, what's up? Now, Brendan Fraser, though, he is not in the Keanu Reeves arena of money, okay? When I was doing my digging, which is why I need to get him some jobs right now, is that poor dude is broke. Dude is broke. And then he hurt himself after Hurricane Sandy. He was out in his yard chainsawing some trees, messed up his back so bad that he needed surgery. And then he had some alimony issues, and he was paying $900,000 a year for child support. Well, dude ain't got no money, so he actually put into the judge, is like, Judge, I can't work. I broke my back, and I haven't done a movie in, like a decade or whatever. I got no money. Can we lower the payments? And so I don't know if all these things just sort of, moved into this perfect storm to help him out. But we have seen, he was in Doom Patrol. We've seen he was in that Showtime series, but also he's going to be doing a new movie with De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio. He's going to do some mafia movies. He played like a security guard, jailer, or whatever. So we're seeing him come out, but he's not leading man material anymore. He's the everyday guy. He's us. He spent a lot of time on the couch, eating bad food, making poor life choices, but he rocks a cowboy hat now. But the other thing that really, really broke my heart was Sad Brendan. And if you don't know or haven't heard, Sad Brendan was on this show, and it just sort of, it was like this AOL weird ass thing called like I don't know, The Wire or The Build or something dumb like that. But somebody asked him a question about what he would like to do since he's not doing movies. And The man is on the verge of tears the entire time. Listen.
Or directing a movie or maybe an episode from the show?
Truthfully, I would rather shoot one. I would probably be pretty bad at it, but I'm interested in cameras, lighting. I've learned the most about how to do the job by being on the job. Writing, directing, I think that I'm most comfortable in an area of producing, not just because it's sort of an easier workload in some cases, depending on who you are and how you work, but I find that I collaborate best. And when you have that one stripe that says you're a producer, then your voice is a relevant one in the discussion at the table. Otherwise, as an actor, if a good idea pops out of you, it's like, oh, look, the talking prop spoke.
That is just awful, man. I mean, he's about to just lose it.
Say it's ours.
Oh, here we go. Oh, my God. So that is sad, Brendan. And to find out even more, one of the other reasons he was so sad, his mother had just died like a week or two before this show that he got interviewed on. Like, this dude is just, he's powering through it. But all I can think of is that we need to remember the greatness that was Brendan Fraser from Airheads.
What's he talking about, Chaz?
Kayla, there's something I gotta tell you.
What?
I was a geek in high school. I had really short hair. I played Dungeons and Dragons. I had a bug collection. I ate my boogers. My name's not Chaz.
What?
It's Chester.
Oh. It's the worst.
And I understand if you don't love me anymore.
But the crowd, wait for it.
I played D&D too!
Yeah!
I was editor of the school magazine!
Yeah, that's Lemmy!
That was Lemmy, by the way.
He was with Lemmy in that one. And he just got the crowd riled up. But then, just to look at his dramatic chops. Remember when he first came onto the screen in The Mummy? He was bedraggled looking ragamuffin, and he's about to get hung. And then Rachel Weisz comes in and saves the day. And then you're looking at him, he's like, well, is this leading man material? But then he shows up, and, well, Rachel Weisz just loses it. But then he gives this impassioned speech.
And guarantee me that this isn't all some kind of a flim-flam, because if it is, I am warning you, I will feel
You're warning me? Lady, let me put it this way. My whole damn garrison believed in this so much that without orders, they marched halfway across Libya and into Egypt to find that city. And when we got there, all we found was sand and blood.
Sand and blood. Oh my God! Remember Blast from the Past?
Life.
Here we go.
But their son has become a man.
Yeah.
What did you wish for, son?
Now the time has come.
I wish that I could meet a girl.
For Adam to step out and discover the world.
What is it?
The sky! I have never in my life seen anything like it before!
Wait. I got to stop it right there. Like, that scene was just so freaking great because he walks out, and if anybody has been standing in a line at a convention, and if you look off into the horizon somewhere or start squinting, it's just like the entire line en masse is like, hey, what are you looking at? And you could just start staring. And, like, I don't know what it was. He's got that sort of like, Ryan Reynolds believable schmuck sort of like, oh, what a handsome dumbass. But oh my God, wait, the trailer comes back. Here we go.
Bonsoir, mademoiselle.
Let me guess something. This is your first visit to La La Land.
From New Line Cinema.
I've never driven before.
And the director of the First Wives Club.
Hi. One champagne cocktail. I thought only hookers drank this.
Well, I know Mom sure likes them.
Comes a story about a guy in his 30s.
What have you been doing?
Been watching television in color.
Stuck in the 60s.
I love sushi.
I love Lucy.
Looking for love in the 90s.
You're a nice boy, but what Eve needs is a nice man.
Shall we dance?
He drives a great big car, smokes a big cigar. He looks like a king and he acts like a star. When we see him drive by, he goes, whoop, whoop. We all shout, hey, Mr.
But then don't forget Bedazzled. Oh my God, remember Bedazzled?
Oh my God,
that was
that
was a great movie. Here we go.
I would give anything to have that girl in my life.
What if I told you that I have the power to give you anything and
Elizabeth
everything you've always
Hurley.
dreamed of?
This is like peak Elizabeth
Promise
Hurley.
not to tell anyone?
Yeah, right.
I am the devil, Satan, Lucifer, the Prince of Darkness. Well, the Princess of Darkness, anyway. Why don't we take a look at the contract? I, the devil, with offices in Purgatory, Hell, and Los Angeles, will give you 7 wishes for one piddling little soul.
Is this real?
It could be. Sign it, Elliot.
Okay, I wish that I were married to Allison and that I were very, very rich and very powerful.
You got it.
Muy buenos días, señor. ¿Le apetece algo de comer?
¿Cómo dices? No habla español.
No habla español.
Un momento. Realmente
He plays just the most convincible dumbass in this movie, but it's so great. Like every time, like he changes characters like 7 times in this movie because he's got 7 wishes.
Versatile.
It was.
How versatile of an actor was he to do that? I mean, every single character was different, and he had to learn Spanish just for that role.
And he had to learn how to dance because we're going to go out with Mr. Zoot Suit. Man, like that scene when he's dancing in the club, like I've tried to imitate that at conventions and my bar room because chicks love a dude who can dance. And you know what? Brendan deserves a chance, Hollywood. Give him a shot. Bring it back into the fold. All right, next week we have Roddenberry, Gene Roddenberry's son. I ain't playing with you like the Zoot Suit Riot. Till next time, keep your nerd flag raised high.
He's jumping to the beat. He's been dancing in the street. He's dressed so fine, got lots of loot.
WRNO FM, New Orleans, an iHeart radio station. Available everywhere on our free iHeart Radio app. #1 for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.